Lightning cracks above a mountain no mortal can climb. 12 thrones shine through the storm. One god lifts the sky with a glance. Another can shake the sea off its floor. One smile can start desire. One whisper can change a war. This is Olympus, the high court of Greek myth. These are the gods the ancient world feared, loved, and prayed to. Their rivalries shape storms, harvests, music, marriage, and kings. Their tempers could ruin cities. Their favor could raise heroes. And by the end, you'll know why these 12 still rule the imagination. But Olympus was never as calm as it looked. In Greek myth, Olympus is less a mountain than a shining royal court, where divine power looks down on mortal life. The Olympians are the great gods who rule from that height, though ancient lists sometimes trade Hestia for Dionysus. What never changes is their reach, because every wind, oath, harvest, birth, voyage, and feast can touch them. So step through the cloud gate and meet the family that turned the ancient world into story. First stands Zeus, king of the gods, youngest son of Cronus, the Titan father who swallowed his children. Zeus escaped at fate, returned in secret, freed his brothers and sisters, and helped drive the Titans down. When the victory ended, he took the sky, the thunderbolt, and the dangerous privilege of ruling everyone else. Greeks prayed to Zeus for rain, justice, kingship, and protection because his power felt as wide as weather itself. But a king on Olympus never rules alone, and beside his throne sits the goddess who guards the bond of home. Hera, queen of the gods and goddess of marriage, carries a power quieter than thunder, and often far more personal. She watches vows, crowns brides, and protects the dignity of wives, queens, and lawful households. In myth, she is also fierce, because betrayal wounds her pride and turns her patience into relentless divine anger. And while Hera holds the palace together, another brother waits below with salt on his beard and storms in his hand. Poseidon, brother of Zeus and lord of the sea, rules every crashing wave, hidden current, and harbor prayer. Sailors feared him, horse tamers honored him, and cities remembered that earthquakes were called the god's own footsteps. With one strike of his trident, he can split cliffs, raise springs, or turn calm water into wrecking fury. He once competed with Athena for Athens itself, offering a salt spring while she gave the olive tree. The city chose wisdom over force, but Olympus still had room for both, and the earth soon asked for bread. Demeter, goddess of grain and agriculture, is the reason fields ripen, ovens warm, and winter does not last forever. Her most famous sorrow begins when Persephone, her daughter, is taken to the underworld and the earth goes barren. Demeter wanders with a torch in hand, refusing to let crops grow until mother and daughter are reunited. That grief explains the seasons in the best-known Greek telling, because harvest returns when Persephone comes back. Yet Olympus is not built only on hunger and weather, because next comes a mind as sharp as a spear point. Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategy, and skilled craft, enters myth in the strangest way of all. She bursts fully armed from Zeus's head, a symbol that intelligence can arrive like lightning, sudden and complete. Where Ares loves chaos, Athena loves planning, defense, and the disciplined courage that saves a city. She becomes patron of Athens after gifting the olive tree, a sign of peace, usefulness, and lasting prosperity. Heroes seek her counsel because she offers more than strength. She teaches when to act and when to wait. And once wisdom has taken her seat, Olympus answers with music bright enough to carry across the entire sea. Apollo, radiant son of Zeus and twin brother to Artemis, is god of music, prophecy, archery, and healing. At Delphi, his famous sanctuary, priests spoke answers believed to carry the voice of the god himself. He can send plague from afar or lift it away, which makes him both feared and deeply revered. Apollo also carries the lyre, turning divine order into sound and making beauty feel almost law-like. But sunlight never travels alone on Olympus, because in the forest beyond his temples, his sister is already moving. Artemis, twin sister of Apollo and goddess of the hunt, belongs to moonlit woods, swift animals, and young life. She guards wild places, protects children, and keeps a fierce independence that no courtly rule can fully tame. Her arrows can punish arrogance in an instant, yet she also stands for purity, distance, and hard, clear freedom. In Greek imagination, Artemis is the silence before dawn, when hooves pause and every branch seems alert. But not every power on Olympus is calm or measured, and the next god arrives wearing warlike fire. Ares, god of war's brutal fury, represents the clash, panic, and hot rage that break discipline lines apart. Unlike Athena, he is not admired for wisdom, he is the terrifying rush that makes battle feel bigger than reason. Even the other gods often treat him with caution because his strength is real but rarely steady. He fathers fearsome companions and strides through myth as a reminder that violence is never a simple glory. Yet Greek myth knew war did not move alone, and close behind Ares comes the force that unmakes gods and mortals alike. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, rises in one famous tradition from sea foam near the island of Cyprus. Her gifts can bless marriage, spark longing, soften hearts, or start disasters no sword could ever prevent. She is dazzling because desire in Greek myth is never small. It bends choices, alliances, and even divine judgment. The judgment of Paris, when a Trojan prince chose her as fairest, helped set the Trojan War in motion. So even on Olympus, beauty is not decoration. It is power, persuasion, and sometimes the beginning of ruin. And in the smoky glow beyond her chambers, another Olympian shapes power with hammer and flame. Hephaestus, god of fire and metalwork, is the divine smith whose forge turns raw heat into marvelous craft. Lame in many tellings and underestimated by the beautiful gods, he answers mockery by making wonders. He builds palaces, armor, and intricate devices, proving that skill can command respect where appearance cannot. Even Zeus depends on him, because thunderbolts themselves belong to the art of the forge. But Olympus would feel unbearably solemn without the quick-footed messenger already slipping between gods, roads, and dreams. Hermes, herald of the gods and patron of travelers, merchants, shepherds, and thieves, is motion made divine. On the day he is born, he steals Apollo's cattle, invents the lyre, and grins his way through trouble. That early prank tells you exactly who he is: clever, charming, and always one step ahead of the room. He carries messages from Olympus, guides souls toward the underworld, and protects those crossing uncertain boundaries. With winged sandals flashing, Hermes makes every road feel connected, from palace courts to lonely hillside shrines. And when the formal business of heaven is done, the mountain opens its doors to laughter, ivy, and dangerous delight. Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy, theater, and holy release, is the strangest Olympian and one of the most human. Born from Zeus and the mortal Semele in the best-known story, he survives disaster and becomes the twice-born god. Wherever Dionysus travels, masks appear, vines climb, music rises, and ordinary rules loosen their grip for a night. His worship could be joyful or unsettling, because he represented the part of life that refuses to stay controlled. That is why his place among the 12 matters, especially since some traditions give the seat to Hestia instead. Hestia, goddess of the hearth and sacred flame, rarely drives adventure, yet every feast and home begins with her peace. The swap tells you something essential about Greek myth. These gods were not a frozen checklist but a living tradition. Different cities loved different powers, different poets stressed different stories, and Olympus adjusted without losing its shape. Still, the usual Olympian circle captures the Greek sense that the world is ruled by competing forces, not one idea. Zeus brings order, but Poseidon brings upheaval, and Demeter reminds everyone that even kings answer to hunger. Athena rewards thought, while Ares exposes fury, and Aphrodite proves hearts can overturn what armies cannot. Apollo gives measure and music, Artemis gives distance and wild freedom, and Hermes keeps every border in motion. Hephaestus makes beauty from labor, Hera guards the sacred weight of bonds, and Dionysus breaks the mask when life grows rigid. Together they feel like a family, but never a gentle one, and that tension is why the myths stay alive. The Greeks did not imagine perfection on Olympus. They imagined power with personality, brilliance, pride, jealousy, mercy, and surprise. That makes these gods feel close enough to understand and vast enough to fear, which is a rare kind of immortality. And if you think the mountain is finished, remember that every Olympian opens a doorway to another legend. Behind Zeus waits the Titan war, behind Demeter the underworld road, and behind Aphrodite the fall of Troy. Behind Artemis run hunters and monsters, behind Hermes lie trickster tales, and behind Dionysus waits the birth of theater. If you love legends like these, Olympus is only the first fire on the horizon. There are heroes still sailing, queens still defying fate, and old monsters still stirring in the dark. So stay with Rune Legends and choose the next name you want called out of the ancient world. Because these stories have never been dust. They are thunder above a mountain, waiting for a voice.